Hello, my science lovers. All right. Trying to see if I can get my Discord chat back online. Reconnect. I think it's supposed to have Twitch, Discord. I don't know what's going on, but it seems like my Discord is still just acting kind of crazy for online. So, reconnect. Okay, hopefully that fixes it. Ooh. Hello. So there we go. How are you guys doing? Let me see and make certain I'm on Periscope. Because whatever reason it was acting crazy. Yay! It's working on Periscope now. Fantastic. I hope it's on Facebook Live. Let me double check that because now we got a seamless thing going on with Facebook Live. Let me go and check on there. Believe we're on Twitch as well. Yep, I'm live on Facebook. I didn't have to set up a completely different thing now. Yay! Hello! Hello, everyone. I'm super excited to have you here and stuff. All right, so today, aging. This was the thing that won the last poll. And it's actually kind of interesting that it won the last poll because of the fact that Jilly seems to think that, you know, her juice kind of reverses this because she thinks you got to drink all of this stuff here. Oh my gosh, you got to drink this nasty stuff. So, Jilly, if you're watching, and you probably should, you're going to learn something. So, let's go ahead and get started. Fan-frickin-tastic, and it was your birthday yesterday, wasn't it? Unholy mole. Sure was. Well, happy belated birthday. So today, yes, stuff and things are working. Isn't this great, Bo? Hello, Andy. Hi, Sci. Hello, everyone on Periscope and Facebook. So, what I'm going to talk about, I'm not going to talk about how we grow from babies to, you know, children, to teenagers, to young adults. I'm going to talk about the golden years. How do we get old? Because, I mean, that whole other thing about children growing into teens, that's a big, hefty topic by itself. And since aging tends to be the thing, like getting old tends to be what the buzzwords are. Reverse the signs of aging. What causes aging? So we're going to talk about that today. Can we slow the process? Can we reverse the process? What does science say about that? So what I'm going to cover is essentially how it is that we have this phenomenon called aging. Well, it's kind of a little bit of a complicated process, but that's all right. Hello, everyone. I'm so glad you're here. And if you didn't check out, I'm going to plug Sci Strike's movie night. If you didn't check out his movie night last night, I talked quite a bit about what I'm going to do with Jilly's paper and her Jilly juice. So I have my own project on that to try to get the correct information out there. So go check out Sci's movie night last night. And also be sure to check Sunday Science with Andy and Sci. It's a great show. I show up there from time to time doing stuff and things with them. All right, so aging. Well, there's a lot of different things that have to do with why it is or how it is that we get old. And it's not just seeing kids on our lawn and that makes us angry. That's not how we get old, even though, you know, we're having kids in general. Sometimes, you know, that is linked to aging, which is pretty interesting. But again, that's another topic altogether. So we see DNA damage and changes, especially in those in the elderly. there tends to be a loss of protein function. And when you lose your functions as particularly certain types of enzymes, function is extremely important, especially when it comes to how proteins are folded. So we're going to talk about that. There's something called reactive oxygen species that is in cells that can actually just do all kinds of crazy damage to them. Yeah, Mel and Non Sequitur showed me Jilly going to meltdown. It did. And if you want to know, Jilly is currently on a 30-day Facebook ban because she had a lot of anti-LGBTQ rants. Funny that. You know, because she seems to think her salty cabbage juice cures the gay. So she's on a 30-day Facebook ban. So please be certain to go check it out. And if you can join her Candida page and just blast everything. I'm not certain she can block anybody on there, so maybe we can do something on that. All right, so back. We also have in aging, there's a lack of stem cell division. Stem cells are exceedingly important, especially in the healing and regenerative processes that our body goes through. We're going to talk about that. And we're going to talk about the decrease in effective cellular communication. Cells need to be able to talk to one another and do it effectively. This allows things like growth, this allows things like healing, and it also lets cells know when other cells are damaged and there's something going on. It triggers another response. So these are all exceedingly important. So, hello guys. I'm so glad you're here. Yeah, and if you don't know SciStrike, you're missing out. And go check out their show with Andy. Bo is always there. Hello, Wonder Lady. And again, a special happy birthday to Unholy Mole. And please do let me know. Send a shout out. Volume is a bit low and I'm alive. Is the volume low? Can you guys hear me all right? Let me see. If you want to do a super chat, you can use, I think it's superchat.com/ScientistMel. And you can do that through Streamlabs, or is it like streamlabs.com/ScientistMel? You can send me some funds there. Oh, as an aside, I am boosting that video that I made on Facebook. They sent back, they're like, we can't accept this because you're making unsubstantiated claims. So I've sent it in again. It's like, no, I'm not. Here's all my evidence. But you let this Yahoo on. So good job, Facebook. So I can hear you. All right. So back to the aging. So something that's really important we have to talk about. Hey, Mrs. Snarky. Hey, Wayne. Hello, Luke. So aging. The aging process still has some mystery to it, but science has worked to find some key roles that play into how we age. Much of it comes from DNA modifications and damage that goes unrepaired. Now, as cells age, the ability to repair DNA is lessened, which worsens the effects of aging. When the DNA in the cell becomes far too damaged to repair, the cell goes into what we call senescence. That's just a romantic and glorified word called aging. Now, changes in important genes can cause aging to occur as organ and tissue functions are altered. This is called epigenetics. Changes in epigenetics. So once the cell enters senescence, tissues start to shrink. This is called atrophy. So we see tissue shrink and inflammatory chemicals are released. Now, those of you who suffer chronic inflammation know, first of all, it's exceedingly painful, and this is kind of linked to aging. So this inflammation disrupts what we call our innate immune system. This issue with inflammation can be particularly problematic, especially to elderly people, because this is a source of mortality for them. It can be lethal. So I need to make a bibliography as big as Jilly, then you wouldn't have trouble. Well, the thing is my bibliography, if you want to look, I actually post my sources at the end of my talk. If you go look at mine, you'll see most of them are like NIH, NCBI, Science Daily, Nature, science. So, back to aging. So if you're not familiar, Elizabeth Blackburn received the Nobel Prize in 2009 for physiology and medicine. This was for her work in genetic structures, discovering the enzyme telomerase, or telomerase. Either way you want to say it, I don't know which way to say it. I say telomerase, I don't know. I don't remember. I say them both. So this particular enzyme is linked to DNA protection, as it protects the telomere caps on chromosomes. Now, she was working under a theory called Hayflick's limit. Hayflick found that mammalian cells have a specific number of times that they can divide before they stop dividing and die. So the more your cells have to divide, the closer you are to death as well as aging. There is still some argument over Hayflick's limit, as multiple factors play a role in aging, but this was the springboard theory for the discovery of telomeres and telomerase, leading to Elizabeth Blackburn's Nobel Prize in 2009. Can I share which dictionaries? You know what? I have a children's, you know what I could do? I have a children's science dictionary. I'm thinking about getting one and sending it to her, just as a present. Maybe she'll read it and cite it in one of her papers and give me like a thank you for sending her a children's dictionary. It has pictures in it. So maybe she'll use that. Oh my goodness. So, interesting thing about Hayflick's limit. Those of you who are familiar with Dolly the sheep, she is a perfect example of Hayflick's limit in the process of aging. So the more your cells have to divide, the more likely you are to reach the aging stage. That's senescence. So when Dolly the sheep was cloned, they took an egg, but they injected an adult cell into that egg. So as that egg and once it was fertilized by that adult cell, it started to undergo all of the different divisions required to make an actual baby sheep, a lamb. But the thing is, that lamb started to age rapidly. Hayflick's limit. So the adult cell had already undergone so many divisions, and so at the time that it was injected into that egg, where no substantial amount of divisions had occurred, it had already started it was a little bit closer to the process of aging. So Hayflick's limit isn't something to be fooled around about. So when we talk about can you slow the process of aging, honestly, my thoughts, the less your cells have to divide to repair damage to associated things, the more preserved and youthful you tend to be. Now, there's different things you can do to kind of retain that youth, so I'll talk a bit about that. All right, so, oh goodness, isn't it weird how kids never realize how cool their parents really are until they're too old to enjoy it? Wow, I suppose so. So here I have, this is telomeres and telomerase. I like to consider aging level, your birthday is level up day, right? When am I going to get like my super awesome armor? And I should have a charisma of like 100 right now. And do I actually get to have points and add it to what particular traits I want to increase? That would be nice. So telomeres and telomerase, or telomerase, or whatever you want to call it. Telomeres are essentially these little red caps. For example, in this particular image, we have our chromosome, and these little red caps are our telomeres. So every time your cells undergo some kind of division, those telomeres tend to shrink. Now, telomerase is the enzyme that replaces those caps. And so those particular caps kind of protect the chromosome from any loss of DNA, and those telomeres also prevent the chromosomes from folding onto themselves. So you need them to kind of like open up and stay open, so that way they can replicate properly, as well as the time when you have to go and get in there for particular genes and copy them to make your proteins. You don't want them to fold over on themselves, because that's not really good and that's not going to work. Kind of like spaghetti and noodles. If you ever tried to make fettuccine and then you leave it in the pot too long, you know, you drain the water and you put it back in the pot, it folds over and sticks together, and you're just like, I can't eat this. It's stuck together. Well, kind of like your fettuccine, you want it free floating around. Same thing with the DNA, and those particular caps on the end of the chromosomes prevent that from happening. Hello Shane. Hello everyone. So this is kind of important for with the telomeres and the telomerase. So that telomerase kind of replaces those caps, and we see a decreased activity of telomerase in those who are elderly. That is kind of a cool animation, isn't it? Now, as a side note, cancer cells are immortalized through a mutated version of telomerase that's constantly replacing these ends. So if you've heard of the story, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, HeLa cells, those particular cells have an unlimited supply, kind of this telomerase, and they're able to undergo replication indefinitely. However, they're highly susceptible to mutations. So there's some question about whether this particular telomerase is actually a healthy version of it, or if it's just a version to allow these cells to not undergo cellular death. Because the presence of telomerase actually signals the cell to rescue itself. So there you go. Oh, hello, Burning the Chaff. Thank you for stopping by. It's quite all right. Cancer cells are immortal cells. Henrietta Lacks, I encourage you to either read the book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks, or check out the film. There is a film, and it's an amazing film, and it talks a little bit about the ethics of utilizing cells from patients. And the thing is anybody can take your cells, if it's especially a research hospital, as long as they change the name. So Henrietta Lacks became HeLa. That was the sample, that, you know, what they named the sample. But the family never received the money for any of the research that was done. And so you have a bit of ethical concerns there. So do check out that film, and it talks a little bit about the immortality of cancer cells. Alrighty, hello. So, protein folding. Here's a protein that has an amino acid sequence, and this is the process of it folding. So this is essential for function. And the shape of these proteins kind of dictates what they do. So if you have a misfolded protein and it's not folded correctly, it's not going to do its job so well. Hello, everyone. X-Files, Leonard Betts, there you go. In Deadpool, that's right. So isn't this a cool animation? I like this one. I actually used to work in computational chemistry. So I got to see really cool animations like this all the time of like the LPA2 receptor kind of folding. That was pretty fun. So that was neat. So the interesting thing you have to understand about protein folding, which is very, very important, is a little bit about this. So protein shape, not protein shake. Oh goodness, my protein shake brings all the signals to the yard, and they're right, it's better than yours. Dang right, it's better than yours. I would teach you, but I don't have a charge. So I'm not really a protein. I can't fold the way proteins do. I don't have different charged ends. But there you go. A little bit of protein. A little bit of protein entertainment. So, aging. Proteins need to be folded a certain way for them to work. Scientists are not yet sure if protein folding is causing aging, if improper protein folding is causing aging, or if aging is causing this misfolding of proteins. So what happens when proteins are not folded correctly? They are not able to have these important biological compounds fit into their spaces properly to either build up molecules or break down molecules. So if you've ever taken a piece of paper, and folded it into a cup shape, Let me see if I can do that. I'm going to do that really quickly. I have a piece of paper right here. So, if you've ever taken a piece of paper and folded it, hold on. Wait, I've forgotten how to do that. All right, hold on. I was going to do this, and now I can't remember. Anyway, I'm going to fold it into this way. I can fold it into a hat. So if you've ever taken a cup and tried to, here we go. We'll pretend like this is my little folded cup. So you could like fold it in a certain way. And this isn't working, so I'm going to throw it down. So you can fold it in a certain way to get it a cup, to make a cup form. But you can take it apart and turn it into a boat. So even though it's made of the same materials and the same amino acid sequence, if you fold it a different way, it's not going to hold your biochemicals a certain way. So much like taking the paper and folding it into a cup formation, if you change the shape of paper, it will no longer hold water. So if proteins can't effectively do their job, they can't break down these biological molecules into little important mini ones for different processes for life, or build important molecules for other necessary purposes. Does oxygen have an impact on the protein folding? Perhaps. We are going to talk about reactive oxygen species. Gold star to Mrs. Snarky. There you go. There is reactive oxygen species. And that, guess what, is next. Here we go, guys. Woo! I have like a very petulant flying around my head right now. So, those totally radical proteins, dude. Yo, dude. Whoa. Yeah, Bill and Ted. All right. So, something called ROS, and you can type in reactive oxygen species and type in ROS. So over here we have like two different kind of pictures of normal equilibrium where you have an equal amount of reactive oxygen species and antioxidants. That's where we hear this antioxidants to go and try to bond with this reactive oxygen so it doesn't wreak havoc on cells. And because high amounts of it does kind of actually wreck a lot of different cellular processes. So mitochondria tend to be the culprit when we see a high amount of reactive oxygen species. We do need some in order for some biological functions to occur, but as cells age, mitochondria tend to release a lot more of this ROS. So it's actually kind of scary. So I'm going to take my face off of here so you can have a look at that. All right, so reactive oxygen species, ROS, causes cell damage. Now this can translate to different tissues, which then tissue damage leads to organ damage, and eventually organ damage can lead to system failure. And so, for example, in this particular image, we have ROS. It's leading to cell membrane damage. So if you have cell membrane damage, you're going to have problems with cellular signaling. If you have mitochondria damage, you're going to have problems getting any kind of energy for the cell. And then if you have DNA damage, you're going to have problems with DNA repair as well as replication. So that's a pretty neat thing there. So there's our ROS, and it's like blasting away our cell membrane and messing up our mitochondria and damaging our DNA. It's just not a very happy thing to have sometimes. So it's almost when I see ROS, and this is where the Princess Bride kicks in. I think ROUS, the rodents of unusual size. I don't think they exist. ROS does exist. And, you know, it's in the fire swamp. And if it's not properly maintained, then it's just going to destroy everything. And then you end up in a sand pit, and you don't want that. It has nothing to do with this, but that just made me think of that. The PS3 may have had one. There is you can join in on a PC game called Fold It, where it's actually involved in active research for trying to figure out the best conformational shape, theoretical shape of particular proteins. So different proteins that they're studying. And this is kind of where computational chemistry kind of kicks in. you can go and join fold it and get some of their proteins and see if you can fold them in certain ways to where they're the most thermodynamically favorable. And if you can get it into the right shape, then you're actually actively helping scientists utilize that formation to be able to run simulations where the different substrates and ligands that fit into that particular enzyme. So that helps them be able to determine which particular compounds are best, for instance, for medications, rather than having to go and gather up a whole bunch of compounds and test in a wet lab to see whether or not they work properly. You can help scientists out with fold it and find the best most thermodynamically energy favorable position for these proteins. And they can kind of run a screen and determine which ones they can use in a wet lab. Yeah, you get a gold star, Andy. Woohoo! Fold it or folding it home. I'm not. You can also help the SETI program. Oh, it's been discontinued. That's a crying shame. All right. So now let's talk about stem cells. Stem cells. Well, guess what? When you get old, your stem cells don't work right so well either. And that's a problem because we need stem cells for repair. We see a decrease in stem cell division, so the population of stem cells drops, and they're also highly susceptible to DNA damage. So stem cells, if they have their DNA altered in any kind of way, they're not likely to reproduce. You're likely to have a fewer amount of them. Therefore, you can't heal and repair tissue as much as you like, because you kind of need that in order for to have your tissues repaired and things like that. So some people don't realize, but adults actually carry stem cells, and they are used to repair our tissues and organs. Stem cells lose their ability to divide with aging. So no one really knows how this happens, but the effects are a loss of ability for the body to repair itself. It is suspected that DNA damage is the culprit for these stem cell changes. Nothing works right this morning. Oh my goodness. Stem cells are the butterfly wings of cells. Oh no. All right. So let's see. Now we have to talk about something else. Let's see. What are we going to talk about now? We are going to talk about cellular communication. Woohoo! Cell communication is really important. Let's decide an exact time to release a hormone. Okay, what do you think? About 10 minutes? Cells need to be able to talk to each other in order to kind of get their act together about getting a particular process to go. So when you have a breakdown of cellular communication, they lose important signalers. And sometimes cells increase a certain amount of too many signalers. And so you have a little bit of chaos going on, and then it's just like, what? You aged 10 years this week. Oh no. We do need a bigger investment in STEM. That's right. I'm sorry, Wonder Lady. Hang in there. All right. So what's going on with this particular situation and cellular communication? Because, if your cells can't talk to each other, nothing's going to work right. Okay. So cellular communication is important, especially when it comes to healing, as well as cellular maintenance, tissue function, and organ function. If cells cannot effectively talk to one another, a steady loss of function can occur. Studies have shown that older mice, when injected with younger mice blood, have restored heart, brain, and skeletal function in the older mice. The younger mice have a better balance of GDF11, which is a type of growth factor for cells, as well as NF-κB, which is a transcription factor that tends to be overexpressed in the elderly. NFKB is involved in making proteins through DNA transcription and cell survival. Communication is key in any relationship. So, and one of the things that's interesting is all cells have little antennae on the outside of them in the form of cellular receptors. This is how they get different cellular signaling compounds that are released from one cell to another to let them know that, oh wait, we have a pathogen. Oh wait, we need to divide and make more copies of ourselves. Oh wait, like in the liver, we need to release insulin right now. So these different cellular communication types of signalers are exceedingly important for organ function. So when you have cellular communication break down, you tend to have a loss of function, not only at the cellular level, but also at the tissue and organ level. So it's a really big problem. Too many cells. Can't we all just get along, right? I wish we could, man. All right, so centered. Going back to here. So here we get to the cool stuff, man. Can we slow the process? Yes, we can. There is some evidence for what we call calorie restriction. Lowering visceral fat, lifestyle choices for reducing stress, and lifestyle choices for including exercise, if at all possible. This is all pretty freaking important, especially if you're wanting to slow the process of aging. And this is why a lot of doctors encourage people in like their 40s, go and start exercising. Start exercising while you're still considered relatively young. Build up some muscle mass, build up some bone density. All of these things are really, really important. So, woo, click, click, click. What am I doing? So recent studies involving human trials have shown that decreasing calorie intake by 15% for 2 years slowed aging and protected against certain age-related diseases. This also reduces that oxidative stress, that ROS, that reactive oxygen species that wrecks cells. Now, high stress situations, stress actually does increase the ROS in our cells. And this has been linked, the reactive oxygen species, has been linked to Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Now, while reducing caloric intake is linked to slowing aging, it is very, very important that you do not go too far and hurt yourself with starvation. So don't think, I'm going to go and fast for 3 days and that's going to slow my aging. You'll be counterproductive in that. Just reducing your caloric intake by 15% is not that, if you, if you eat 1,500 calories a day, or if you eat 1,000 calories a day, reducing it by 150 calories is all you need to do. It's a small, small amount. Now, lifestyle choices play a role. Smoking is linked to increasing aging as it has a system-wide effect. It can affect blood flow, it can affect blood pressure, it affects your entire body. It's not exclusive to the lungs. Visceral fat contains a larger amount of biochemicals that are linked to cellular pathways that contribute to processes associated with aging. So, exercise can help reduce that visceral fat that is linked, that has some of these hormones and these different types of cellular signalers that are linked to cellular aging. Now, nutrition is also essential in slowing aging, as well as exercise to encourage muscle building as well as bone density. It's very important that people, especially if they're prone to have osteoporosis run in their families, if they start early on exercising and building up bone density before they reach that point to where this aging, this senescence has kicked in. If you're actively producing muscle, if you're actively producing bone tissue, if you're actively working to try to build and work to build your body's going to try to maintain that younger state. I need to get back to exercising now that I'm thinking about it, and I'm starting Tuesday. I have joined a gym that has a pool, and I have bought a new Fitbit. So I'm taking my old self back to the gym, and I'm going to start trying to work to slow my aging. Or drink this cabbage juice and poop for days. We can both do it and compare our poop waterfalls. I like you, Mrs. Snarky, but I don't want to look at your poop, and I don't want to share my poop with you. Oh, Wonder Lady, I'm sorry about your osteoporosis and your mother. See, I always have a hard time starting back to exercise, but once I get into the swing of it, I feel amazing. I'm very susceptible to the endorphins. So, Ms. Snarky, we should do a weekly thing and say, what have we done to be good to ourselves? And check in with each other and hold each other accountable. Go, Ms. Snarky, I care about you. Did you go for a walk today? Did you drink enough water? And you'll be like, ScientistMel, I care about you. You said you're going to go swimming. Did you do that? You know you feel better when you exercise. Sometimes you need a little bit of that encouragement. Just somebody, and those are the people, honestly, those are the people that reduce the stress in my life. The ones that say, have you taken care of yourself? Did you drink enough water? Did you go for a walk? Because you know how you feel when you go for a walk, when you're outside and you hear the birds sing. Stuff like that. Stress in your life, which also reduces your reactive oxygen species. You have reduced stress, that lowers too. Slows the aging. So there you go. We do need a swift kick, don't you? Oh, your sister has a fitness journal. That's awesome. Oh, you're skipping the exercise and you're going to party. All right. So let's talk about, can we reverse it? Can we reverse this aging? We're going to be all Missy Elliott. I'm going to throw down, flip it, and reverse it. I throw my thing down, flip it, and reverse it. I can't rap, but God, I love Missy Elliott. Oh, it's a journal online to track your water, sleep, and diet. Well, that's cool. I have a Fitbit, but I bought a new one that can go in the water. I'm giving the other one to somebody else, the one that I have, and I'm going to get this other one to where I can go swimming and it can track laps, and it's really nice. So that's the nice thing I'm doing for myself to help me stay accountable. So, can we reverse aging? Yes, but in mice. Bummer, but not so much. We can do this by changing 4 different genes, transcription factors within mice, and also by adding telomerase. So what does science say about that? Okay, I am proud of you too, Mrs. Snarky. We're going to kick aging in the butt, and we're not going to do it with terribly toxic, salty cabbage water. Because, whatever. I'm gonna pump out a video every week about her. I've already decided. You don't want to be jealous of mice, man. You're planning to get the new Apple Watch. I've seen about the new Apple Watch, but I'm just like, I already have a Fitbit, and I have the Fitbit software, and I'm used to that interface. That's why I decided to go with the Ionic. So that's cool. Congrats in Keto 5. Oh my goodness. So with the aging, so just a few months ago, there was a groundbreaking study I believe it was a few months ago. I know the caloric intake was a few months ago. Oh, I've read so many studies this morning. A groundbreaking study at the Salk Institute showed a reversal of cellular aging through human cells in mice. They were able to age the cells and then reverse the aging successfully by turning on certain genes that were able to revert the adult cells back to an embryonic state. Now, this study showed healing of injuries in mice, as well as extending the life of mice by 30% who had Hutchinson's disease. This kind of reinforces the idea of that epigenetic changes being largely responsible for the aging process. Mice had their telomerase replaced and their aging reversed. Now, in this particular study, this showed that mice without telomerase could have their aging cells reversed once telomerase was introduced. There is some skepticism about this particular model because it does not really mirror telomerase activity in humans, as they do have it and are born with it. These mice were born without it. However, this is still useful data of which more research can progress. Now, of course, more information is needed before we can go start changing people's genes and injecting them with telomerase, but this does give us a point to start working to treat age-related injuries and illness. So perhaps they could develop a model where they could introduce particular proteins that could release, I'm not certain what they use for their mode to turn these genes back on. But they would, of course, have to have a small study done. They'd have to start with human tissues. What I would go from that point is to take some kind of damaged human tissue and see if you can inject these particular things to that and revert these damaged cells back to embryonic. That's what I would do. So I think I've hit everything that I wanted to talk about today on aging. I hope I've been helpful. I don't know if I've been terribly helpful or not. Oh my goodness, the Twilight Zone. You guys talking about Twilight Zone. Man. So how do we get old? What causes aging? Can we slow the process, and can we reverse the process? So I've gone through all of the different ways that science has discovered that contributes to the aging process. So we can kind of get an idea about what causes it, but there's always stuff we can learn. We can slow the process through some caloric restriction, exercise, taking, making better choices. There's some link to pollution and aging. So limiting environmental factors is key in slowing the process. We can reverse the process, but only in mice. Boo! We need human studies for that. Come on, geneticists. Come on, biochemical researchers. Come on, physiology and medical researchers. We need that, because I would, I'd be looking at my hands and stuff. I'm like, I want to fix that. And I don't want to be old. PRP injections, do they actually help? I'm not entirely certain. Let me have a look on that, and I will shoot you some information. Is it safe to say we'll keep getting older no matter what you say, Mel? I'm 61 and my hair isn't getting gray yet. Yes, you're always going to keep getting older. I started to turn gray about 25. So take that however you want. 25 or 26. I started to turn gray about then. So I don't know. Yes, I volunteer as tribute for the studies for the scientists. So I'm going to show you all of my sources. So here we go. Julie, if you're watching, these are what proper sources look like. I'm going to pop off and show you. All right, so here, even the scientist, the nutshell caloric restriction, this breaks down the research. But then you can go to these other articles here. This one right here talks about it. NCBI, you can go there. You can check that out. Here's Nature, nature.com, aging and cell division. These are proper sources. Look at that. Here's another article from Nature. Here's a whole institute just based on Hayflick's limit. So you can go and check that out. You know what I mean? And so here's all of these different articles. Here's one about inflammation and how it contributes to all of these different things. See, the thing that makes me kind of nuts when I'm going through people who are like, I'm a scientist and you're not. And then I look at their actual work and I'm going, what the heck is wrong with you? And so I'm going, all right, Miss Thang, you quoted self.com, the dictionary, Wikipedia, and a physics classroom website. So, pro tip on how to write a paper. Go to the original source. Now, given, I will say, I put the scientist.com here and here in Scientific American. I put these on my slides. Yeah, technically, they're kind of like magazines, but they're reputable. But at the same time, they're really well written in layman's terms. But they're not a children's website on what is a scientist. They're not a children's website on what is a scientist. They're actually reputable reading materials that help break down a lot of the harder science into layman's terms. So, I may cite magazine articles from time to time, but it's mostly to help my viewer. But I also put, I would say 90% of the time, the original article links on my sources so you can go and check it out and read it yourself for the higher reading, for those of you who want to dig in deeper to the science. That's how you do it, Jilly. Oh, goodness, yes. She posted on Facebook. She typed in, she was Googling, what is a scientist? And screenshot a picture of a children's website describing what a scientist was. And she said, we can all be scientists. And I'm like, who is your audience? Oh, I love you too, Wonder Lady. I'm so glad you guys are here. So I'm going to take a moment. I'm going to thank my patrons because I need to do that. They help me keep the lights on. So I'm going to thank my patrons. They are all amazing. And they've stuck with me and continue to contribute to my work. And I'm doing the best I can. I'm recording new episodes of my podcast. I'm still editing them, patrons. So have patience with me. I'm finally settled into my new job. And so I'm generating content for them. I'm working on that this weekend. Content just for you guys. So thank you, Tony, James, Lauren, Jen, Carl, Melanie, Patrick, Daniel, Stephen, Paula, Tim, Carrie, Cersei, Keith, Duke, James, Andy, Zachary, Tony, Bo, Stephen, Sarah, Chris, Graham, Dragnot, Godless Iowan, Jennifer, Corey, and Heavy. Thank you. You help me keep the lights on, and it means a great deal to me. I pay for a lot of the stuff out of my own pocket, so the contributions that I get from you go directly to my work. I pay $100 a month, every month, on Twitter to promote tweets of content that I do. I also pay anywhere from $100 a month on Facebook promoting different content that I do. I don't do that because, you know, I'm trying to get more money from people. I do that because I'm genuinely trying to get my content out there to help people. The recent study, the new study for the National Science Foundation from 2016, because I had been quoting 2012, where it was 1 in 4 people believe the sun revolves around the earth. It's now 27% of people, so it's more than 1 in 4 now. It's more than 1 in 4 that believe the sun revolves around the earth, so it's getting worse. It's getting worse. And so I'm still going to keep at it. I'm still going to keep going. And all of the contributions go directly to that. I have green screens I'm going to start working with. That's on my list of things to do. Your contributions help with that. My website renewed this month. Everything that you guys contribute goes towards the work that I do. And I still, you know, I love doing this, and this is very important to me. So thank you for being here with me and helping me with that. So where you can find me, ScientistMel.com. There's my Patreon, Periscope, YouTube, Facebook. If you want to contribute on a monetary type of way, but you can't do Patreon, I do have a PayPal account. Shoot me a message and I can send you a link. That's another way you can help out as well. And that is the science of aging. I'm old. I'm an old lady. You guys, I'm an old lady. Oh my goodness. So, I'm fighter of the woo. That's right. Oh my goodness. This makes me happy. Oh, so yeah, check out. And also, what I'm planning on doing, here's Jilly's response. And I talked about this on the Non Sequitur show, as well as Sci Strike's channel. What is normal? So, my project I'm doing right now on getting rid of the Jilly nonsense, I'm going through this paper page by page and redlining the crap out of it. And then what I'm going to do is scan this and put it on a PDF and upload it to my website. So I've already started right here. No, that's not how it works. Not supported by data. So I think you might enjoy it. It might even be a comical read for you once you get all that down. Oh, thank you, GI. Godless Iowan is a supporter of mine. You're super awesome. I'm glad what you do. So, you know, I'll end on this note on don't be the 1 in 4 and don't fall for Jilly. Admittedly, this is what she has to say about her own education. Just to remind you, admittedly, I do not have any formal medical training and education. I consider that a benefit. So being completely ignorant and willfully ignorant somehow is a good thing. So with all due respect to the researchers and experts that offer research, studies, data, and information, the concepts that I support may have been previously overlooked due to compartmentalization or a variety of other factors. Maybe because nothing that you say has any kind of scientific support or any kind of science or data to back it up. So why would they waste their money? Nobody's going to waste their money on that. So it's absolutely nuts. All right. And so then she says, since I do not believe humans should ever die unless they get hit by a car, my research and protocol is worth studying and understanding from an academic point of view. Since I do not believe humans should ever die unless they get hit by a car. That's the reason she thinks people should study her work. No. But, you know what? At least she put the entire periodic table in her paper. And she got it from Pixababy. So yeah, Jilly, I'm going to go through your paper for you. While you're on Facebook ban, I'm going to highlight everything. And I'm going to rip it apart. And then I'm going to scan it and put it on my website so everybody can read everything I have to say about your paper. Because you know what? I got some time. And this is fun for me. I love debunking horrible, horrible bad science, especially from very awful people who hurt others. So this is going to be great. And people are like, you must be a masochist. I'm like, no. I'm going to drink me a glass of wine and write all kinds of funny notes, and you guys are going to love it. So first access to my patrons, they'll get to see the manuscript first. Once I'm done and once I'm finished uploading it there and they've had a good chuckle from the read, I will be posting it live on my website. So I really, really hope you guys check it out and share it far and wide. That's the thing. The funniest thing I think I heard Jilly say in her Facebook video rant, where she called me a second grade science teacher that was only explaining water and salt to children. First of all, I've never taught second grade, only high school and university. That's probably more than she's had. And I have done research in addition to that, across the board in several different projects, in industry science on top of that, now back in academia. So, going back through that, Organized Chaos, you are late. I finished talking about aging. Organized Chaos, by the way, is an artist who does all the artwork on my Patreon account. So she handles all of the artwork that I've got. And she's got new artwork coming up. So if you're a patron, you'll get new artwork soon on there that you can check out. And she's a young artist, and I do pay her for her work. Believe it or not, I believe in paying artists for their work. And so she contributes in that way. So, Organized Chaos is trolling me right now. So there you go. But yes, so the thing that kind of made me nuts about about Jilly sitting there going, any respectable science, any real scientist would drink my juice and not question my protocol. That's not how science works. You've never been to a scientific conference or had to stand in front of your committee for 2 hours and defend your research. I have. 2 hours of nothing but sweating in a hot room with a collective amount of maybe 60 years experience in the room of chemistry professors trying to figure out, how can I stump her? What is her limit of knowledge? 2 hours of that, ripping apart my research. You don't have the skin. You don't have the thick enough skin for science, Jilly. You don't. Otherwise, you would have run out the room if you had to do that. Because you are a coward and you're scared. S-K-E-R-T. I'm going to spell it wrong just for you. Go look it up in the dictionary and post it on your website. And let us all know that you did. Again. Jilly juice makes you go salty. It makes you age rapidly. Yes, it does. It should actually age you rapidly because you're damaging your cells by introducing that much salt. So maybe Jilly will get old really fast. That would be interesting, wouldn't it? She doesn't, man. She thinks it's kind of like getting, after being ill, violently ill for 3 days, and you finally stop trying to figure out which end to put on the toilet. After being violently ill for 3 days, the moment you start to feel better, you're like, oh my God, I feel so much better now. That's the only thing I can think of. So after she's like having explosive diarrhea for an entire week or whatever, maybe after it's over, she's like, oh, I feel so much better. Yes, because you're not having explosive diarrhea right now and you're exhausted. So that's probably why you feel better now, because the horribleness has stopped. So, oh my goodness. And yes, use hashtag #HeyScientistMel on my live stream anytime. I do try to check it daily. I am regularly putting out, stuff on there. I am going to do more with my shorter videos, like my 1-minute videos. I'm trying to schedule more time to get more ScientistMel shorts in. If you haven't subscribed to YouTube, please do. Please let my channel, one of my playlists, run in the background. I'm still not at my 4,000 viewing hours that I need in order to start monetization. If you want to support me on Streamlabs, I believe at streamlabs.com/ScientistMel. You can find me there. Send me a Streamlabs, tip that way. You can find me on paypal.me/ScientistMel. You can find me on Patreon. Find me on Facebook, on Twitter, and ScientistMel.com is another way to do it. ScientistMel.com. I write stuff there and got a lot of flack from my latest piece on Monsanto, so that was interesting. Well, I have been on here. How long have I been live? We got 2 minutes left. 2 minutes left, guys. Man, this has been a flat hour of lots of fun and stuff. I really enjoyed this. All right, let's see. Maybe I could do something. What have I got here? Did you guys see? I got this for my birthday. And I need to take it out of the box. My sister gave this to me for my birthday. It's a Groot. Groot is my favorite from Guardians of the Galaxy. Probably my favorite character from the first film. I haven't taken it out of the box yet. But I really want to. I am Groot. Sing the Shake song again. My protein shake brings all my protein shake brings all the compounds to the yard, and they're right, it's better than yours. Dang right, it's better than yours. I would teach you, but I don't have a charge, so I can't fold. I can't fold like the proper proteins, so that's like messed up. Maybe Jilly doesn't care. Jilly wants money, organized chaos. She's already come out and said she doesn't want to appear on anybody's channel unless she has the potential of getting customers. That's what she calls spreading seeds. She's spreading seeds out. So if you don't have, the whole reason she wanted to go on a non sequitur show is to try to get more customers. And when she found out that Kyle is gay, she got really upset. And then she went on a massive Facebook rant. And then she said I wasn't a real scientist. And I'm like, okay, says a lady who probably doesn't even have a high school education, doesn't really know how to do science, hasn't actually performed science correctly, and doesn't understand what words mean, and uses a dictionary to look it up, and then cites that as a source. So I'm pretty certain we're going to say that no. Maybe our genes are too tight. Oh my goodness. You know what? The Jilly Juice recipe is taking like a whole bunch of cabbage, and for every cup you put a tablespoon. For every cup you put a tablespoon of salt in there. A tablespoon. Okay? A giant freaking tablespoon of salt in every cup. And let's see, there are 2 cups in a pint. Is it 2 quarts in a gallon, and each quart? See, I'm metric now. How many pints are in a quart? Is it 4 pints in a quart? So that's 16, 32. Is it 64 ounces in a gallon? So, I mean, 1 tablespoon of salt for every single cup in a gallon. And she wants you to work up to drinking a gallon a day. So there you go. Oh my God. And 3 tablespoons is 1/8 of a cup, isn't it? And so, God. It's around 28. It's approximately 28 grams a liter. Yeah. 28 grams of salt per liter-ish or something. Yeah. It's insane. She has the fermented cabbage because she thinks that that's how you get probiotics. And she talks about in this terrible paper that she goes and has an outside source, a lab, run the cellular count, but she counts the cells. She doesn't go through and get the information on what the cells actually are. They could be plant cells. They could be all kinds of bacteria cells. They could be yeast cells. All they did is count how many cells are in that, and there's around 13 million. There's no guarantee they're all probiotics. So it's insane. It's absolutely insane. She freaked because he is gay, and he said he was going to drink the Jilly Juice and see and hold up pictures of male genitalia, penises, and see if it still does something for him. And she took offense to that and said, "See, not today, Satan," and drops out. And then she found out I was going to be on the show, and then said I was just some kind of glorified teacher or something, and I wasn't actually a scientist. Challenges my credentials, and said she refuses to listen to any scientist who does, if they don't have a PhD, she doesn't want to talk to. I have 2 master's degrees. That's not enough for her. So if they don't have a PhD, she doesn't want to talk to them, and they have to drink her juice before she'll talk to them. I'm like, okay. She goes, "Not today, Satan," and I'm like, okay. I'm gonna rip apart your paper anyway because I already did all this work and it's funny, and I did, and it's nice. So there you go. So I'm going to go ahead and pop off of here. Oh my goodness, guys. You guys have been absolutely hilarious. And I've enjoyed this a great deal. Yay. Making certain. I think I've got everybody on here. Brian, she does need a prison cell. I'm all for prosecute Jilly. And right now, just so you know, okay, so Zaphoid said 2 pints in a quart, 4 quarts in a gallon. Okay, got it. Thank you. I'm not used to freaking imperial anymore. I'm completely metric. You're right, Brian. She's a sycophant, and she's living off of people's insecurities. Man. Goodness. It's insane, and it's really quite frightening. So I'm going to continue. I'm going to finish this little project. And yeah, she has a PH, silly. Graduating from the college of the toilet. Whatever, man. So I'll hop off here and let you guys continue on with your fantastic day. Magic wins every time. Yes. So thank you for being here. Like, subscribe, share, do whatever you got to do. And I will post the next poll for the next show on Twitter. So swing by Twitter. I'll probably post that tomorrow with all of your topics. You have a topic you want me to cover, use hashtag HeyScientistMel, and I'll throw that in the poll. So thank you for being here, guys. Sending you all kinds of squishy science hugs. You make my Saturday awesome, and I'm so glad I get to be here sharing science with you. I'm going to end with Mr. Rogers. You always make each day special for me. You know how? By just your being you. Have a fantastic Saturday.